Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So that's you. Definitely come check us out. I think right now we just surpassed 6,300 members. We're almost at 6,400 members. So if you want to be a part of an awesome community, come check us out. And today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Jessica. Welcome, Jessica.
Hello. What's up, everybody?
Hey, great having you. Great having you. So tell us, what is it that you do?
That is such an awesome question. I am a small business attorney. I manage a firm out in the DMV area called J Bull Consulting firm, and we cater to small businesses, entrepreneurs, creatives, influencers to help them build a strong legal foundation, protect their brand, and kind of increase their growth and profitability for their business. My passion is small businesses, and I just want to help people grow their business and take it to the next level by also protecting their brand.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, why is your passion small businesses? Because you lit up when you said that.
I did, right? I know. I was super excited. So I actually I am one of 7. So my parents had 7 and we're like stair steps. We're 15 months apart. This is relevant. So of course, unless we were going to be on a farm, my dad had to find a way to provide for us. So my dad has been an entrepreneur since I could breathe. And I have seen this man run about 12 different businesses and be very successful with it. And seeing him do that sparked entrepreneur spirit in me at a very young age. So we all had businesses. We were all hustling through high school and college. And so once I went to law school and I started experimenting, I started realizing that there just wasn't enough support for, small businesses or people even just feeling overwhelmed about how to even start a business, grow their business. And I wanted to give back to my community in that way. So even within my family, as I was practicing, because I was actually a prosecutor before I kind of launched into being into small business, I found myself helping them because there's 9 of us, and out of the 9 of us, 7 of us are entrepreneurs. So I kind of just fell into it in that way. And that's why when I say I care about it, it's because it's close to my heart. So it's not as if I wouldn't be doing this kind of work if, I wasn't doing this for him. Like, I actually really care about it. And I know firsthand the impact it can have in helping a business become more profitable and protecting their brand. And it brings me so much joy when someone's face lights up and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I started my business. It's so great. Thank you so much. So that's why I'm like, yes, they're my people. I love them.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So you said small business attorney, right? So when does someone come to realization that they do need a small business attorney?
Unfortunately, often when havoc has arisen, unfortunately, what I'm combating and what I've been trying to combat and instill in people is that you should not wait until the house is burning to call in a attorney. Oftentimes people, someone may steal their brand or they get hit with a cease and desist, or they may find like, oh, I've been operating my business for 10 years. Now I finally want to kind of look into starting an LLC. And they could have been benefiting from having that business 10 years ago. And so they leave all this money on the table, or someone steals their stuff. And so now they're, super, super motivated to get an attorney. And I think that you can avoid a lot of heartache if you employ one much earlier in the process, because sometimes they'll just make you aware of things that you didn't realize. Like, for example, I had a client and, they've been operating business for 6-7 years, have this great brand, and they wanted to go and trademark it. And so they contact me, they're like, hey, I want to trademark it, and I do a search, and I'm like, yeah, so if we trademark this, you're probably going to get a cease and desist. You're probably going to have to change your brand. So now we're having this really hard conversation with this person about renaming their entire brand and their entire business because someone else has that exact same name. And what was even devastating is they had just filed it just 2 years prior. So if they had just talked to an attorney earlier in the process, all of this would have been avoided and they wouldn't have to spend even more money to rebrand. And it happens more often than I would like. So part of my mission and my vision is to educate small businesses that even if they can't afford an attorney, then they can at least have access to resources to have a rudimentary understanding of what should be a part of their small business.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. So in essence, it seems like he said, don't wait until the house is burning down, right, to get in contact.
No, when you're building the house is when you call the attorney. It's like you would like if you're building a house, you call the contractor. The attorney should be part of your top 5 team. I don't know why we missing all the time. I look at articles, no one ever mentions attorneys, but there's a reason that, the big businesses and the big brands and the big creatives have a team of lawyers. They're not doing that just because it's good for their health. They're doing it because they understand it's really valuable. And a lawyer can save you a lot of money and make sure you don't leave money on the table. So sometimes making that investment, not sometimes, all the time making that investment can be very beneficial, especially if you're working with someone who understands the atmosphere. Everything's digital now. So the way a small business moves or an entrepreneur moves is not the same maybe a corporation moves or a franchise moves or a chain moves. And they have very unique issues and problems. And so it's very important that you're working with someone who understands that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. What about in terms of how does working for you look? Is it are you working in person? Is it virtual? What does that typically look like?
Okay, yeah, good question. So I do offer virtual. I consider myself a virtual law firm. I do it for several reasons. One, it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper. My clients don't have to pay for me to travel to them and meet up with them. It keeps my overhead down costs lower. So that means I don't charge you more. I do offer the option to travel to my clients, but most people do not desire that because it's going to cost them more for me to travel when we can do everything online. Also, it allows me to get to more clients, right? Because I practice mainly federal law, trademark, copyright, contracts. That's transactional and federal. So that allows me to practice across the US, even though I'm barred in the District of Columbia. So it just was a better option for me. And I always envisioned myself being able to travel, being able to go in different places and still operate my business. And I know that most entrepreneurs are going to have an online presence. You can't really operate a small business nowadays and not have an online presence. So it's not super unique, for a lot of small business owners. They like it that I'm online, that I'm accessible, that I do Zooms and Facebooks, and it's really not an issue. So the traditional office is not where everyone's operating. And so my clients all really appreciate that accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, when you say how do you define small business? What's your definition? How would you define small business?
So you would be interested to know that most businesses are actually considered small businesses. I believe the statistic is 99% of businesses are small businesses. So for me, my particular niche is like who I like dealing with is people who are startups, meaning that you are just starting out. You could be running or growing your business. So you may have 50 to 50 or less employees, or you are a solo or partnership. So those are kind of the individuals that I like working with the most. I think they'll benefit the most from my services because it's going to be very direct and hands-on. You're going to be talking to me. You're not talking to 3 other assistants and an assistant of assistant. You're talking to me. So that's kind of who I like to focus on. I love my starter entrepreneurs. Those are I love helping people start their businesses, but I also love helping people take that next step. Once you start the business, what's the next step for your brand? What's the month-to-month issues that you may have? You start hiring people. I like to walk through, I consider it a collaboration. I consider it a journey. We're partners. We're walking through this journey. We're making sure that as you take each step, you're taking the proper measures to ensure that you don't have any problems later on. So that's the kind of clientele that I like working with the most. And of course, the influencers, I enjoy working with them as well. It's kind of a new field. So the FDCA regulations and the different DCMAs and copyrights and all those different things. And I enjoy working with coaches because they have such a unique service often. And a lot of times they have this amazing content. They're speaking, they're creating courses. And so I have found that often in this sphere, they're not taking the necessary steps to protect their work because maybe a creative sees themselves as an artist, right? They're creating something. But if you're a coach or you're offering certain services, you don't always see your content as art, but it's your type of art, it's your type of work, and it should be protected. So I've really been trying to get more out there to kind of educate that type of business, because technically that is a small business. And so part of, I know I keep saying part of my goal, but part of my goal is to help people understand that even if you don't feel like you're a business, you are. You know, coaching is a business, being a marketing consultant is a business, and you should make sure you take steps to protect it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So how does a typical engagement look like for you? Is it context specific, or do you have a specific set of time frame, or is it just based on what project you're working on?
So basically, it just depends. I get a lot of DMs, you know, people just direct message me, they private message me on social media. I'm a millennial, so everyone's like millennials. But the benefit of being a millennial is that I'm on social media. So people just message me, and then I usually just kind of onboard them. I might say, okay, let's start up the process. So the first step in the process is to schedule what I call a power strategy session. I don't call it a consultation, because a consultation means you just kind of hear the problem and you say, okay, I can help you, I can't help you. My power strategy session is about not only hearing what you desire, but setting out step-by-step guidelines to attack and ensure and create that foundation. So that's what I like to do. Once they have the power strategy session, you know, I give them a proposal. I say, these are the 3 things, or these are the 5 things that I think you should definitely do. This is number 1 priority. You should do this if you don't do anything else. And I like to work with my clients where they are. So if they're not ready to take those next steps, I completely understand. And then I have a group that I have called Getting to Goal, the Entrepreneur's Journey. And that's where I post really comprehensive lives and informationals. So even if you're not ready to maybe take those next steps, you can still walk with me and think about things in your business, such as taxes, contracts, trademarks. And that's kind of how you would go about working with me. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's so powerful as well, too, in terms of what you do here. So now the question I always like to ask is, based on kind of where you are today, with your level of success you've created for yourself, what would you say is one skill that's really gotten you to where you are?
Fearlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Fearlessness. So, and I say that not to be catchy. I literally mean that. I say that to be an entrepreneur, you have to kind of be fearless. If you let yourself think about what could happen, what you don't know, all the unknowns, you may find yourself stagnant and not moving at all. When I started out, everyone, all the articles, I don't know if you know this about lawyers, but we're kind of a conservative bunch. So they tell you lawyers are created to avoid liability, right? Like, we want to take the most safe path. And so when I decided to launch out on my own, I was not, 20 years into my legal career. And so I had to be sure and confident and move forward in a sphere and operate my business in a way that wasn't normal. Now we're in COVID, right? So everyone's virtual. But when I was doing it, it wasn't that common. There are still a lot of attorneys who are not virtual, and it can be intimidating to create a different model and to create a different way of how you want to do business. So I had to be fearless and had to believe that what I saw as beneficial was beneficial, and not be deterred by what the industry was doing, but what I believe would be the most benefit to the audience that I wanted to serve. So fearlessness has been my biggest advocate. That's why I'm even doing the interviews, like, be able to speak, being able to put yourself out there and not be afraid is so instrumental. And I don't get shook easily now. Okay, you can't shake me. So fearlessness, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, love it. Now, what about books, right? Books. How do you? Well, not even books, but how do you consume content? Are you a podcast listener? Do you read? Do you go to events? How do you consume
How do
information?
I consume information?
Mm-hmm.
In every medium possible. I am a huge reader. I love to read. I do enjoy a good podcast. I do listen to podcasts. I believe in YouTube University all day, every day. I'm on YouTube. I like seeing what other people are doing. I think it's important to learn from others. Even if people are doing what I'm doing, I sign up for their newsletters. I sign up for their groups. I look and see what they're doing, because I can always learn. One of my biggest learning curves was marketing, right? So I know how to be a lawyer, but I was like, oh, marketing. Okay, let me figure out how to do that. So that in order to learn how to do it, what I did was I joined groups, I went on YouTube, I read books, anything I can get my hands on, I just consumed it as much as possible and then created plans from that, right? So I would take notes and then I would review it and then I would see how I can apply it to myself. I think that continuing education is one of my top priorities. I actually take time, about 3 to 4 hours guaranteed a week, to continually educate myself, whether it be through learning what upcoming laws are changing, or even just like what's the new platforms, how they affect my clients, or what is the new thing for marketing. I always make sure I take time and educate myself, whether it be by podcast, YouTube. Sometimes I've even went and got a, which is not for everyone, but I actually went and got a Library of Congress card, right? Because there's so many books and materials and resources there. And I was like, I need to go to the library. So I'm a huge advocate of going to the library and picking up a book and just looking through it and buying stuff on Amazon. So that's how I educate myself. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's one book you'd say has had the biggest impact on your journey so far?
Whew. What is a book that has had a big impact? So you're putting me on the spot because I was like, I throw my phone. It's one of the books that I really, really enjoyed was, I'm like, it's on my Kindle. I don't want to misquote it. It's called Influencers and Marketing. And it discusses the role of influencers, how to work with brands, what are implications that are helpful to them. And a second book that has been really, really helpful was I went into a contract drafting and negotiation. So what does that look like? Because I also offer negotiation services because sometimes disputes happen. So the author is escaping me. I'm so sorry, y'all. But those are probably, I reread the contracts, negotiations, and disputes book often. I pull it out often. It is often next to me while I'm working. And the influence of marketing was really helpful because it gave me a point of view of my client, as well as prospective needs that they may have. I think very often one of the pitfalls I found out early on is that I think I know what my client needs, but it's also important to know what my client believes that they need, so that when I'm speaking to them, we're speaking the same language. I understand their vernacular. You know, when they're saying, "Oh, the algorithm ghosted me," or "I got shadow banned," I know what you're talking about. So that is a book that was very, very helpful to me because I know you can't tell, but I was not a social media aficionado at first. And so that book really helped me.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Now, if someone wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect?
So if anyone wants to reach out, they can reach me at Jessica, Jessica, at jbullconsulting.com. That's my email. And then across all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm at jbullconsulting. And it's Bull like the animal, Bull consulting. And you can also reach me at my website, jbullconsulting.com. And if you find me on social media and you're like, hey, I just want to reach out, feel free to direct message me or private message me, and I can always answer your question or, point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. Well, hey, Jessica, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Do you have anything coming up? What do you have going on at the moment before we end here?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks so much. So I actually have a workshop coming up. It is free for those of you who are interested. It is June 30th, 2020. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be virtual. It's called 10 Legal Mistakes That Small Businesses Make and How to Avoid Them. And we're going to cover topics such as taxes. We're going to cover copyrights. We're going to cover contracts, or 3 necessary contracts your business should have, trademarks and entity formation, privacy concerns, terms and conditions. I'm just going on and on and on because what I'm saying is going to be a lot of information. So if you're interested, you always can reach out to me at Jessica at jbullconsulting.com or find me on Al Gore's internet at jbullconsulting, and I will be more than happy to send you the link.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Jessica, hey, well, thank you so much. And guys, the links, everything Jessica just mentioned here, they will be located either above or below this video, so you could click on and get connected right to her. So, hey, Jessica, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good rest of the day.
Awesome. Enjoy.
Bye.